Hey, wow, wow. Killer studio. There's going to be 24 pieces. So like it's gonna wrap around the corner. So I got these out right here. And then this is all like the stuff I'm making for my upcoming show. I'm Gus Harper. I'm an artist in Santa Monica, California. I'm from Santa Monica, live in Venice. And you're in my studio at the Santa Monica airport. Great. Work on the floor quite a bit, which I might in just a second. I need to get another piece out of the back, so. And there's an upstairs too. I just need to find a painting in here. Up in Malibu, there's a canyon called Nicholas Canyon, and there's a big retaining wall up there. And I painted the retaining wall like a giant mural on the beach. Oh, okay. And then I painted that board to match the mural. Oh, sweet. But I actually love that board, so I surfed it yesterday. I do. It's pretty cool. All right, I got my 3 pieces to work on now. So this blue piece right here, that's gonna go in the back room from my last show. You'll see it across the way. So it's about a journey I took one time. So these 2 horizontal pieces, both which are almost done. So this one has a lot to go. These 2 are pretty close, I think. Sometimes you think you're like this far away. You start working, I'm like, ah! There was a painting, when I thought it was so cool, but time went by, I kept looking at it, I'm like, man, it's stiff in this one area. Let me just change it a little bit. So I changed it, I'm like, well, if I change that part, I should change this part. I just kept going, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, well, basically erased the painting, and now I'm gonna start over. It was so upside down, the painting, at that point, that I literally took the painting, turned it upside down, and started over. So you don't know that you're close to being, you think you're close to being done, and sometimes not so much. Then there's the other way where you think you're so far away, you have an epiphany, something happens, and you solve it in a minute, which is always joyful, because that means you're just painting without overthinking things. So yeah, right, we overthink, right? It changes over time. So I think when I was younger, something that kind of like really just pushed me into making art was just the joy of creating. I just loved to create just for the sake of it. And my paintings back then were really just like celebrations of beauty in everyday life. Like I had the citrus paintings and things that you might see every day but take for granted, not see the beauty in them. Maybe I take something like that was recognizable, like a helicopter, but paint it in a really weird scenario. I'm like, well, that is crazy when you look at it that way, or juxtaposition can get you there. So there's a lot of like celebration of the beauty around us. But as I evolved as an artist, or devolved, I started painting stories about my journey in life, and then maybe our collective spiritual journeys. Like this painting right here, literally is kind of a daydream I had when I was on a motorcycle trip in northern Thailand. And when I finally arrived in Mae Hong Son, put my canvases out, I always paint wherever I end up. I just painted the daydream I had. And so this kind of represented the fields that I was driving through. And then this was the sky and all the images I saw dancing around the sky. Oh, by the way, even something like this, like see there's a tooth in there. That's one of my recurring symbols I've been using for the last year or two. I started it was almost a little touch of whimsy. I started to put teeth in things, but teeth is a symbol of wisdom, could be. So it's kind of like offering a blessing, like have a little wisdom in your journey. I hope you find some wisdom in your journey. But then there's all that going on at the same. There might be a whole story behind it. At the same time, I'm also just trying to make an interesting, visually engaging painting. And this one needs to go in the sun and dry.
What is that?
Kind of looks like a moon. I just let them materialize. But then you start carving out the shapes, you start to see things that look recognizable. Maybe something comes out in my subconscious. There was a face here before, just sideways. This was the nose, that's the philtrum, the mouth was here, got painted over.
So it's subliminal.
Sort of, but then I'll show you this one right here. So this is if you look at this piece, this is kind of what I was talking about before. So there's really two main symbols in this. There's the fighter jet and the scarab. So actually I started painting these. I was in Thailand. All the news from America was about the drones flying around. Everybody's trying to figure out what they were. And I thought that was really interesting. I started painting some flying objects. And I thought it's kind of interesting. It was kind of symbolic of man's need to know what everything is. We always have to define things. But I like to think of taking things out of context. So that's a fighter jet. A fighter jet is exactly what I was talking about before. That's something that can be seen as scary. But I painted it, I carved it out of negative space. But that's, it's got orchids. I painted it visually pretty. You know what I'm saying? It's happy colors and vibrant. So I made, the scary object, but people see that oh, that's beautiful. They don't think of it as a symbol of war. But then it sort of evolves and it turns to a scarab. And the scarab is a symbol of kind of growth and spiritual birth, has all the symbolism in ancient Egypt. Actually, there's a little scarab here. See, it's kind of going up, and then there's a little scarab, and it blossoms into a bigger scarab. So there's a story in there, there's symbols, but I think people can look at that and kind of come up with their own translations too, and I don't think they're necessarily wrong. And I have a much bigger version of this that's going to be the centerpiece of the show. It's the invitation piece. This is what I was talking about. I made this one in Thailand. So see, it's got believe it or not, this is inspired by the drones. It's got the flying object, but it's so kind of wacky. It's the wackiest UFO looking thing I've ever seen, which I find kind of amusing. And then it's got the a little bit more reverently painted scarab up above. But I want it to be kind of crudely painted. Yeah, I wanted to kind of tap into man's more basic primal desires to understand the world around us.
Right.
But all that being said, I also think it's fun to make a cool painting that people just look at whoa, that's cool. Mm-hmm. And then they look into it and try to find the meaning. Having fun, but I got some things to say. The sun works fast. I was in Thailand. I was almost hallucinating from fatigue. And I'm walking down the street and I see this building, had these giant moths going up the side of the building. I'm like, what is that? And I was really blurry-eyed. I got up closer and my delusional ass, it wasn't moths, it was a big mural of sticky buns. And I laughed when I realized that you kind of see what you want to see. So I cruised back down the street, turned around and squinted my eyes to see it again from a distance. I like the moths, and I kind of took a little screenshot of that in my mind. So I had that, this image of moths. Well, a couple of days later, I'm in Cambodia, and that's when the fires broke out in LA. And I was very stressed out. I wanted to come home and help with family and everything. And I had a day where I was stuck there. I'm like, well, I might as well be present. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to go back and paint something that was like the lightest thing I could think of. And so I painted, it was orchids that were melting and evolving into moths that flew up over the moon. It was just like a symbol of lightness. But moth also, like moths and butterflies represent like purity, but also like a new, fresh start. That's something, if you look up moth symbology, you can find that a lot. So once I painted, I'm like, yeah, I kind of I'm vibing on this right now. And I also like the way I was painting just like when I painted shapes, you could see what you wanted to see. Some of the moths were, it's kind of a stretch to say, oh, that's a moth. They're just very loose shapes. And actually some of them, I made them look like fighter jets too. So it could be like a fighter jet morphing into a moth. I like the symbolism behind that. So once I started painting those in Thailand and Cambodia, I just got kind of excited about it. And look, it turned into this giant imagery back here. This is this 3-panel piece is going to be the centerpiece of my next show. And that's all. If you look down here, this is exactly what I was describing. So there's a bunch of orchids down there, and the orchids they kind of burst outwards and turn into these weird shapes. Eventually, as they expand outward, they start to look like moths. Even there's a bird there, so they're more abstract in the middle. And as they go out, you see things. So actually, this right here, like there's 2 fighter jets going that way. But I've had people already, in the limited time this has been in existence, people come in here and they see all kinds of things. I'm like, oh, that's interesting what they see and how they, but by the time it gets all the way over to the moon, those are pretty kind of more clearly defined moths. So that's like us evolving, right? There's a bird up there, you can see that. So there's this continuous theme of flying objects, from the scarabs, the UFOs, the moths, the birds. That's a recurring theme in what I've been working on the last maybe 8 months, 6 to 8 months. Yeah, I like to give people that little touchstone to grab onto. That's what I was talking about before. And then they can do with it what they want. Look, all these pieces, they all have see animals on the back.
Oh, this one's animal.
It's just about me being playful. There's always a lot there's so much more that goes into the painting than just me telling you. There's so much backstory. And I think the first time I did it was something I had in my studio, but I find all these little things, like I have music night here all the time. Every time the musicians leave, I always find a couple of the little guitar picks on the ground. So I'm like, yeah, that's part of my experience. I'll take the guitar pick and I'll glue it to the back of the painting. So some of them have like I've got nails back there, little jewels, all kinds of things. Oh, spray paint some scarabs on this one. Yeah, put my name on this one. Because everybody's like, a lot of times people are like, you don't sign your work. I'm like, yes I do, you just didn't see it. I definitely signed it on the back. And pretty much every painting has something on the back now. Okay. I mean, some have quite a bit. Where's that little heart that you moved here? Oh, not that much, but it's got a duck. You know why? Because a little kid came in my studio and I found that duck sitting on top of one of the paintings. Like it's going in the painting. Yeah, it's just, I find it amusing. Oh, I've been in the studio, I think almost 10 years. It's kind of crazy. Once this got offered to me, I'm like, I can't say no to it. So I took it, and so I had 2 studios for 2 years. So I lived at the other one, so I'd wake up in the morning like, which studio do I feel like working at today? And then I would decide. And then, in order to break inertia, I decided to give up my studio, which I loved. I love that place, so why would I give it such a gem? But I was falling into my comfort zone. I was getting a little too comfortable. So I went and traveled the world. It was supposed to be 6 months. It was not nonstop, but it would turn into a little over 2 years of traveling. So during that year, I gave up that place, but I kept this as my base. And then when I kind of came back and settled back down and got like a proper home in Venice to live in, this is my only studio now. So I only have one studio, and I'm here all the time. and I love it. I love being at the airport. I love the energy here. There's always like interesting things happening. Okay, so I can put this aside for a little while.
When do you know it's done?
I think the literal answer is when there's nothing you can add or subtract from the painting to make it better. The theme of this upcoming show is beginnings. So that painting outside is kind of a Garden of Eden painting. I might call it Return to Eden. Oh, those goddesses?
Yeah.
Create a lot of my art outside, and a lot of times I also like street art. But sometimes when I go outside, I will carve out these sculptures to take with me on my hikes and photograph them out in nature. And I really started getting into. I made one of these goddesses that I really liked, and they kind of caught on, so I made a whole bunch of them for a show. And but you'll see some of these around town on telephone poles, especially in Venice and Santa Monica, like all over Lincoln Boulevard. They're up pretty high. There's a couple of scarabs on telephone poles and UFOs. Have you ever seen this? If you go down the street here, just on the street, you'll see gems, scarabs, an alien head, all kinds of things. So these...
You're not admitting to doing that.
No, I don't know who put them there. I'm just saying you'll see them. You know what's weird? People come and break into my studio and then put it up on street art. It wasn't me. No, they're all hand painted. And you see, like, one of my favorite ones. I have a couple. I have one I won't sell. Oh, here's one. They see it's the woman, but it's got the figure inside the body. Kind of like that. It's full of symbolism. That's symbolism right there.
What is that? What does 3 cups of coffee mean?
It means I want a cup of coffee.
What's with the chalk?
I like putting that on there. Kind of makes it like a rougher element.
Exactly.
But you know, it does. It creates a sense of movement in the painting. Those lines and the scratch mark. Like you can see this. There's like a little steam coming out of the coffee. And look how crudely the cups are painted. I want it to look like it was painted quick. This fighter jet has another fighter jet inside of it. That's like the whole idea of the homunculus, like the deeper meaning inside of something. Il Moro. The show will be up
Yeah.
all summer long. I just wake up every morning excited to create, excited to make things. Like it's kind of funny. I wake up in the morning and I just can't wait to get out of the house. I just want to come to my studio. I got my fort. It's my art fort. It's my favorite place to be. So I just want to come in here and start making stuff. I'm just happy. But then also what happens is I start getting ideas. One idea is a stepping stone to not one more idea, but like 3 more ideas, and it just keeps expanding. And then, we had these conversations. I see the movies. I read the poems. I read the books. Whatever. All the stuff keeps coming into me and giving me more ideas, and then it comes back out. Oh, Inside the Moon? Thanks. I was exposed to art at a very early age, and my mom went to art school, and I was about 5 years old. And what was cool is that she would take me with her when she went. Oh, that's perfect. She would take me with her when she would go to galleries and museums, and she would show me paintings that she wouldn't, explain them to me like as a 5-year-old. She would speak over my head, she would speak to me like, show me what the painting was about, how if a bowl of fruit in the middle was a little off center, how that created a sense of tension between the two people in the painting, like that kind of cool stuff, and it kind of gave me a little bit of I wouldn't say insight, but more of an enthusiasm for art ever since I was a little kid. And when I was little, I really liked pop art because I was too young to understand the cynical criticism of the capitalist system. That didn't mean anything to me. I just liked the disregard for the rules and the vibrant colors and the playfulness, what I saw as playfulness. And as you see in my work now, I still have that kind of going on. I like, expressive, explosive colors, vibrancy. Most of my work is not criticism, but it's a matter of what I concern myself a lot with is perspective and perception. If you change your perspective or entertain somebody else's viewpoint from their perspective, then you can change your own perception of the world. And so that's why it's interesting to have. That's why I like asking my friends who have different political views than me, tell me why you think that way. Or traveling around the world, you see people, everybody, your next door neighbor has a different perspective than you. And actually, even this painting I'm working on right now with the fighter jet, which is supposed to be this malevolent, scary machine, but I'm going to paint it out of orchids and try and change the perspective a little bit. Actually, this one was made in Koh Phangan. That was an island painting. This was made in Chiang Mai. Most of these were made in Laos, actually. And these paintings are like this one right here. It's like what I showed you before. See, there's a figure this way and a figure this way. So it's kind of like a yin yang. And you decide which way, this face is very defined. So I think a lot of people are going to want her to be up, but I find that too predictable. I like it this way. But I like that people might rotate it. This one can be flipped around. This one has two figures, but they both go the same way. So you wouldn't flip this one around. But for sure, this one would get flipped. You can decide which way that goes. You can decide which way that one goes. Like, see, I like it this way with the eye up high. But if you flip it around, it's easier to view the face that's right here. But then it's like so well defined. So I kind of like it a little bit more. It gives you an opportunity to look in and see things that are not so immediate when it's upside down this way. And I do like, these can be, put together in combos of 2 or 3. That's from my Signs of a Benevolent Universe theme. So that's the citrus paintings. So this is 100%. This is is the show right here. This is what this piece. And look, it's got the little globe that goes with it. Just for fun. But. Like an explosion of energy. It's a new beginning. Well, my mom lived in the Palisades and her house burned down during the fires. So anyways, if you drive at the PCH, the bottom part, you see these ruins, including that very specific spiral staircase that was in a house that burned down. So she painted the bottom and then I painted the top, which is like orchids and kind of looks like fireworks in a way. Yeah, the rebuild, yeah.